Hello, everybody, and welcome to the newest episode of Technically Trek. I am your host, Dave Prime, and over there is my co host, the Dixie Witch, Captain Katie. How are you doing, my dear?
I'm doing okay. I accidentally bought 10 books today.
I know we
And it
talked about that
wasn't
backstage. I'm just like, you accidentally bought 10 books.
well, I only went into the store for one book. I couldn't find it, and then I saw another one that was already part of a series that I'd started getting. So, I bought
See,
that, and then
well, I bought a book
there
too. I'll
was
grab that real quick.
and then there was I found out that the book I originally went in for was part of a series, and then the sales assistant was a bad influence on me and made me buy a pretty one with sprayed edges, and then I accidentally bought 5 more online. But I have some really good news. I have officially been discharged from physiotherapy.
Yay!
Yes. She's very impressed with how my ankle's coming along, and she basically said I don't need her anymore as long as I keep up my exercises
Hmm.
for another few months. But yes, I have officially been discharged. I am so happy.
I'm happy for you too, but to say, talking about books, I got this in the mail on Sunday. So it's
Now,
been
I still haven't read that. I've got that in my library and I still haven't read it. I want to get the audiobook so I can listen while I read because I love
Hmm.
Patrick Stewart's voice and he actually narrates it.
Oh, no
So
surprise. You can't have anybody but him doing a I plan on whoop, now you camera with the name.
at least it zoomed out and it didn't zoom in.
Yeah, now we
Oh, we're
just need
going to have fun
we
tonight.
just need the flip and the trip, and we got the whole gambit for you
Yeah, I
tonight.
mean, maybe Bat Katie will come out to play for the last time this year.
Yeah. Well, who knows how depends on how long the conversation goes tonight, but before we do that, try not to get emotional. This is
Oh,
probably the
sorry.
last time technically Trek's gonna be shot in this room. I got approved for my apartment today.
Now, can everyone just reach through their computers, please, their phones, and just wrap their arms around Dave, please? Because that's what I want to do right now. And I am so happy for you, sweetheart.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just right now, the one thing that's been holding me back for the past 18 months, I mean, Cassie and his family have been great and humble hosts for me, keeping a roof over my head, especially when I became unemployed when I lost my car. So I lost my sole source of income. So God, it's been just almost 9 months that well, a little over 9 months that Tyson was generous enough to give me some money so I could get another car so I could do my Lyft job. But I've just been behind the 8 ball for so long, I haven't been able to build that residual income to be able to get, like, the 1st month, the last month, the deposit all lined up for to get my own place, but s going on 8 months in my sobriety now, it is a sober living situation. I am gonna have to go to more AA meetings, which I am more than willing to do. If whatever it takes for me to get a roof over my head, I will do it. It's a cute little apartment. I do get to have it for my own for a while. For how long? I don't know. It just depends on when the next person that needs to come out to that needs a place to live, I'll have a roommate. We'll unfortunately have to share a room, but there's separate beds on opposite ends of the room. It's it's really cute. When I get a chance, I'll probably throw a couple pictures up in the chat. But we did have Travis in the background, but he dropped off on us. I don't know what happened there. Might have been a internet connection issue. I'm glad we have internet tonight because we had a nasty, nasty windstorm blowing through here. There's a there's a wildfire somewhere in town too. So I just like yikes.
We had a really big it wasn't quite hurricane strength, but we had a really big storm. Unfortunately, not the kind of storm that I like.
Yeah.
But we had like extreme high winds, like I think it was it the week before Christmas or the week before that. And oh, it was awful. The wind was howling through my room, and it was
Mm.
just that is one weather condition that I cannot abide by, and that is high winds. I've had some very bad experiences with high winds in the past.
Yeah, this is probably the worst the wind's been in a while since I moved here, so it's just been kinda nutty. But, one other thing related to, like I said, this is the last episode we're gonna might do in here, might be next week, I don't know. The one thing I'm waiting on right now is whether or not the people that own the property that I'm moving to, if they approve to get me essentially they'll pay for my first month. Don't have to pay a deposit. And then after that, it's preferred that I pay weekly instead of once a month because it does make sense. Because if you're going into a
It does.
sober living house, you screw up, you relapse, you get kicked out. And say so just by paying by the week, if the person does have to leave, they're not out that full month's rent. They're only out for that week that they've paid for.
But that is one thing that you don't need to worry about, sweetheart.
Oh, absolutely not. But but also by having January paid for, will let me build that residual money that I've been having a hard time getting. I'll get it done. And especially also having to go to well, the first 30 days I'm gonna have to go to 30 meetings. See, but after that it's like 5 meetings a week. Let's see what's Tyson saying there. Thank you. Thank you, Tyson. Travis too. Jeff, I saw that you gave some congrats too. Like it's gonna be an emotionally compromising episode, so if I just start breaking down in tears, just ignore me.
It's a really good job that we're not covering an emotional episode.
Oh, yeah, it's a
Because I mean, I'm really emotional for you. I can feel your emotion through the airwaves, and I'm just really glad that we're not doing a really over emotional episode. All right, BMS along with you.
yeah. But yeah, the episode we're gonna be talking about is, as close to Die Hard as Star Trek probably has ever gotten, Starship Mine from the 6th season. Saying some little notes I'll bring in our guests to talk about that.
Can
But
I just
yeah,
point something out before we start going through the episode and
yeah,
notes? As we're
if you're
going
thinking
through this,
mhm,
can people just remember all my bitching about technology?
sure.
Because all of my bitching about technology, it only hit me when I watched it again this evening. Technology, even Trek tech, it's not all it's made up to be.
Mm,
And Picard got through with very like old school, non-technical things.
yeah,
So
24th
people
century
just
John
remember all my
McClane.
bitching about technology.
But yeah, and little side note, it's like Katie and I talked yesterday on the Discord, and we've pretty much got well, of course, this year, well, in 2025, we're going to get season 3 of Strange New Worlds. I'm guesstimating somewhere between February and April, we're going to get that to happen. We got Section 31 coming up at the end of next month in January, so we'll be talking about that. But Katie and I have pretty much picked out all the episodes from Next Gen, DS9, Voyager, and Enterprise that we're going to talk in the interim when we don't have anything new. So we already got January lined up. So next week's going to be A Night in Sick Bay, one of your favorites, Katie.
Yeah.
And then we're going to be doing Death Wish from Voyager, which is another great episode, which talk about assisted suicide and things like that. So that's kind of a deep episode. And then another deep episode from Deep Space Nine is going to be Heart of Stone, which the A plot being like what we think is Kira and Odo, and then of course that's when Nog makes his first plea to Cisco that he wants a recommendation to go to Starfleet Academy. So I'm thinking that's a good episode to talk about. And then the Section 31 movie, then we got a couple already kind of like very lovey-dovey type episodes for February for Valentine's Day. We got a couple in October for coming out month, which is it might even be able to get away with that in June for Pride months too. So like we got Rejoined, we got that's the one thing that always pops to the top of my head.
Yes.
But yeah, we've been yapping for 15 minutes. I think I've leveled myself out enough, and I know Tyson's radio net's coming, so we better bring everybody in. So, hello, gentlemen, Tyson and Travis.
Hello, darlings. Mwah. How are you, Bill?
I'm so excited for Dave and so proud of. I don't even have my own place. I'm still in the garage of my parents' house. So
Yeah, Callie sounds like she doesn't like it either.
I'm right there with you too, Tyson.
Come here, Callie. I got something for you. Merry Christmas.
Don't you dare, or I will make a voodoo doll of you, Tyson.
So no, I mean that. No matter who you are, or where you are, I mean, just getting a place of your own and making that happen. As I said, I'm constantly leaning on people who help me, who financially help me, who support me, who take care of me, and so, that's we all need that from time to time.
Yeah.
What you did though is you took this and you made this work. I mean, anybody could have taken it and it could have flopped, or they didn't really put time or effort into what they needed to do to make this work. You made it work. You made it work, and you excelled. Yeah. And you got the income going on. You got the transportation. You got the place to live coming up. It's like all that work is you. And do me a favor, stop mentioning anything about me. This is you. It's not me. It's you. You, and I am so very proud of you. And you're doing nothing even I can't do.
And in other news, like Cassie, Beck, and the kids, they got something lined up as well, so they're just waiting for the paperwork on their end as well, and they got another place. We won't go into all the still getting used to the new microphone, so I gotta remember it can't be just all the time so much. But yeah, they got something lined up too. So
you can't. Where's my camera? Here we go. You can't be too gay when you got something shaped like this in front of your face. Not on camera. I got to put that away. It gets me excited, and then start fondling the mic. Anyway,
no, I'm only that gay.
All right, God, Cat, shut up. Come here, say hi to everybody.
Thank you. We've been waiting for the Callie pod.
All right, there. You see him? You gonna start meowing?
I don't care.
Yeah, well, you cared a minute ago when you wouldn't shut up. Say hi. Bye. Oh, there we go. Bye. Meow.
And don't you be chewing up Tyson's Christmas card.
Oh, yeah. Oh, shit. My card.
It's like, I do what I want.
Mwah. What do you say about that? Meow. There you go. Okay.
Oh, I want to snuggle that pud so much.
No, stay away. You had your moment.
Yeah, just some opening notes about the episode. Of course, I kind of mentioned it's Die Hard Picard. So, but a popular nickname for this episode from fans. And of course, this is the first Star Trek episode or series that Tim Russ made an appearance. Of course, we know him best known for Tuvok in Voyager, and of course, he played that officer on the bridge of the Enterprise B in Star Trek Generations as well.
I find it really, really funny that I think was this his last role before taking on Voyager? I'm sure it was. Or one of his last roles, but I find it really strange that Picard subdued him with a Vulcan nerve pinch, and then he ended up being a Vulcan in Voyager.
Yeah, and of course Picard learned the neck pinch from his mind meld with Sarek, most likely, as he knew how to do it just perfectly.
Yeah. So was this his first Star Trek role, or was
yes?
So this predates Star Trek 6 or 7 or whatever.
Okay. Star Trek 7, yeah.
This predates Star Trek 7.
Yeah, then 2 months after Generations is when when he played Tuvok, or he premiered as Tuvok, I should say. He's already shot Voyager, so
Yeah, there's been a lot of like I've seen a lot of his behind the scenes, and he was up I think for the role of Neelix, but ended up getting the Tuvok role. Like when they're casting people, a lot of times you'll apply for several parts, and then you might not get the one you thought. The most interesting, and for those of you who have ever seen The Golden Girls, which I think is one of the best comedies from the late 80s, early 90s ever. I mean, you got four old bitches together. Hilarious. Just one of my favorites of all time. Rue McClanahan, Beatrice Arthur, Estelle Getty, and Betty White. And it's funny that Betty initially was supposed to play Blanche Devereaux, and Rue McClanahan was supposed to be the Rose Nyland. And in previous sitcoms, Betty White has always been the slut, the gorgeous one and that's why she was originally going to play Blanche Devereaux, because that was the slutty, pretty, And Rue McClanahan, if you've ever watched Maude or some of the other comedies that came before, she always played the ditz, the ditzy one. And she also...
I think at that role.
Yeah. So she was used to getting the ditzy roles, and Betty White was used to getting the sexy, pretty roles, and so neither of them wanted to be, continue to be typecast. So they swapped them. So Betty White played the ditzy Rose Nyland, and Rue McClanahan played the sexy Blanche Devereaux, and it worked perfect. Like, I can't even imagine it reversed, right? I can't even imagine. It was so perfect. But we see that in Star Trek too, where somebody was supposed to play this character and then ended up getting a different character, and it worked better.
Yeah, it happens a lot in film and TV. It happened in the TV series of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Charisma Carpenter went for the role of Buffy, and Sarah Michelle Gellar went for the role of Cordelia. But when it came to auditioning, Joss Whedon says, no, I want them to give each other's script to the other. And that's how Sarah Michelle Gellar actually became Buffy. She didn't actually apply for the role because she didn't think that she'd get it.
Yeah, sorry, I was just texting with Phil saying, hey, you're missing the show. And he's like, and he hasn't even had a chance to watch the episode yet. So I'm just like, well,
I
going in, talking about it, you might trigger memories.
I didn't know it was going to be on Monday. I knew it was Monday last week because your birthday, Christmas, So I was expecting this week it was going to be on Wednesday. So
Wednesday's New Year's, so there's going to be a lot of people hungover. So I figured I might as well do it this Monday as well.
Okay, so I did not know that. So next week, are you going back to the Wednesday format, or are you sticking with the Monday?
I'm not certain yet, because I mean, Monday or Wednesday you got your radio net, so you'll have to bail early.
Oh, I've got radio net 6 out of 7 days. Sunday's the only time I don't have a radio net.
Yeah, and that's going to be one of the interesting things with one of the stipulations of me moving to sober living. I kind of mentioned it to Katie backstage, is that even though I'm 7.5 months sober, I still have to do 30 meetings in 30 days. So that's going to be interesting to see how I can weave that into my schedule. But after that first 30 days, I have to go 5 times a week. And say I already go 3 times a week, so I just need to find an extra 2 days. I can do a mix of live and virtual too, so I don't have to do it all the time in person.
Well, are the meetings, since you're going to a sober living facility, are the meetings on campus on that facility?
No, they're actually just regular apartments. It's not a facility in of itself.
Okay, so they financially assist you with getting the apartment in return for you going to meetings.
Pretty much. At least that's one way of looking at it, but yeah, they're pretty stringent. If you relapse, you're out. So I'm not ready to give that up after all the work that I've done. It's like,
oh, back, Katie.
Yay!
So do they
I did make the
test you,
clearance.
or is it the honor system, or how do they know if you've relapsed?
I think they do regular UAs.
Your analysis? Okay.
Yeah.
Can I just chime in with something? I know this is going to sound really heartless, but to all those people that are going to be drinking on New Year's Eve, who knows that they suffer hangovers? No sympathy, self-inflicted, but have a good night.
I have a bottle of champagne ready for New Year's, but I have, one, champagne is very weak alcohol compared to like malt liquor.
Yeah.
And the champagne flutes are so tiny. I mean, it's not much more than communion wine when you get down to it. The thing is that you don't want to overdo it. Overdoing it is the problem.
You see, I know I sound heartless by saying no sympathy, self-inflicted, but I've always said and I know it's going to happen at some point, but the first time in my life that I suffer a hangover, I will never drink again, unless it's a one-off, but I've never had a hangover in my life, regardless of how rat-assed I've got.
I've got a question for Dave, because I know Travis is just itching to talk to us, so I don't want to take up his time, but that doesn't bar you from alcohol that's related to medicinal purposes, like NyQuil, for example. If you have to take
any NyQuil, I get the stuff that's non-alcoholic. Just have it in there. So that's how hardcore I've gotten.
Well, there are some, like if you get the prescription cough syrup, the one with
something like that. Some
has alcohol. NyQuil has alcohol. Strong enough vanilla has NyQuil or has alcohol.
Yeah, but stuff like, but
Has somebody got feedback on their microphone or something very loud in the background?
Not me.
It's Travis.
That's my fan. Let me turn it off.
No, don't turn it off. Everybody needs fans. I've got lots of fans.
Can anybody hear me though?
Yeah, we can hear you, but there's just like background noise. So new microphone. I got it yesterday, so breaking it in so yay. But going back to the episode, because everyone's time is short. They did like the matte paintings for the Arcaria base. It's kind of like been tweaked a little bit from previous uses. It was used as Darwin Station at Unnatural Selection, which is an episode that Katie and I discussed that we're going to talk about later this year. And then, of course, it's also the space from Oniaka 3 from the Descent.
Is this the episode where Picard goes back to get his saddle?
Yes.
Yeah.
I do remember their own saddle.
I don't remember what episodes we discussed. I'm just like nodding and agreeing. And it was
just the show. Say we.
Yeah. I can't remember what Unnatural Selection is.
It's the Pulaski gets old.
It's the what? Sorry.
The one where Pulaski gets infected with that super bug from those kids, and she starts rapidly aging.
By the way, Pulaski, I liked infinitely better than Dr. Beverly Crusher. Nothing against Crusher. She was great. She was great. She did Star Trek The Next Generation proud in everything she did. I liked her. I just like Pulaski better. I think she was a little more gritty. I think she was a little more like when Worf fainted because he had that child flu. Yeah, and she made up that line and said he's doing a ritual fast and he forgot to with lower caloric intake he needs lower physical anyway. And so she made up that, and he goes, "I owe you." And then he quoted her poetry and brought the poison tea. She inoculated like that. That was hardcore. That was cool shit, right? I couldn't see
Yeah.
Beverly doing that.
No, you're right. You know what? You're right. So
It was a Klingon fasting ritual, as she explained it.
right,
yeah,
right.
even though that wasn't the truth, she was able to. Yeah.
And the one where they do the battle game, the battle simulation, with the old starship, and the guy with the puzzle things, and Dave,
Yeah.
Korami.
and Data busts him
He's
up.
a Zactor.
Right?
Busting them up.
Yeah, that was Pulaski encouraging. I don't know. She was a troublemaker. I loved her. She was.
Yeah, I took to Pulaski really, really well. And to be quite honest, I actually missed her when she left. I mean, don't get me wrong, Beverly eventually grew more of a backbone and she became more outspoken, and she became more firm in things, but for a hell of a long time it seemed very forced with Beverly, and then she eventually grew into it. But with Pulaski, it was all natural. It was her.
Pulaski was very much a Dr. McCoy type doctor.
Yeah, exactly. I think
that
that
the pants. I love that about where Beverly. It felt more like she was the sexy doctor, right? The long hair, and they put her there because she was good looking. She was
just apple juice people.
Oh yeah, we know that. But Beverly Crusher was more the sexy doctor, but I think Pulaski was more of the gritty Dr. McCoy type doctor. I like.
Yes, definitely.
I don't know.
And I intrigued Phil enough that he's going to pop in, so I'll kind of run down.
Can I make a statement real quick?
Sure.
If y'all remember, this was Tim Russ's first time in the Star Trek franchise. That's right. His name was Devorn, and it is. I did some looking up, and it is true. In season, I think it was season 6 of Voyager, it was called Counterpoint. There was a species that Voyager ran into called the Devorn.
Devor.
And it's a
Devor Imperium.
Devorn Imperium.
I totally missed on that.
That's the same name, and Tuvok, he played a Vulcan who was a telepath, and they had trouble with the telepath and stuff. Also, too, this is the thing. I don't know if anybody heard Tim Ross audition for the part of Geordie LaForge.
I was going to mention that too, yeah. So because we were kind of talking a little bit about that. So, but yes, even though he didn't get Geordie, he did get a starring role.
He didn't get it, but later in Star Trek and throughout the Star Trek and everything, he made some appearance, which was a good thing. And then it shot up his credibility, where I guess you could say the producers and stuff took an interest in Tim, and he got to become a regular cast member as a character that we all know is Tuvok and stuff. But he did have his fair share. He played a human being on the Enterprise. It wasn't no Vulcan. People was like, was he on? No, he was a regular human being on the Enterprise B doing Generations.
30 years later, people still have
it. Until Voyager rewrote it.
What?
He was on Enterprise B. He wasn't on Excelsior.
Yeah, exactly.
He was on Excelsior doing the James Kirk, the whole, Star Trek, the Undiscovered Country stuff. But I don't want to get too much into trying to figure that out and everything else. But he played a human being on the Enterprise B, where he played a Vulcan on the Excelsior.
But on Excelsior, he was Vulcan. I don't know. It just
he was a lower decker in.
Yes, he was a lower decker.
I'll be right back, guys. I'll be right back. No, you're right. I always get confused because I knew, like when they did the Voyager, when they redo the whole Star Trek 6
flashback.
Yeah, it's like there he is, and I do remember he was on a movie set, but it was the Enterprise B and Star Trek Generations.
Yeah.
And so that always kind of confused me because I conflate the two,
people get confused. People get confused about that.
Yeah, the title will be like one other point of contention that I want to talk about. Then we can actually start talking about the episode because we're already like half an hour into the show. That because they're trying to pull some trilithium to, and they were saying that trilithium is a toxic waste product created by the ship's engines.
Yes.
Yet in Star Trek Generations, it became a nuclear inhibitor. So that
I guess they didn't figure that out, that something like trilithium resin can be used as a nuclear inhibitor. It can, well, I said in theoretic, it can stop all fusion within a star. You know, and then also too in Deep Space Nine for the uniform, Ben Sisko ordered Worf to have trilithium attached to
the torpedoes, yeah.
because he was gonna basically poison every Maquis planet in a demilitarized zone. And he didn't get approval. He didn't even get approval from that from Starfleet Command, but he took it upon himself to basically I'm a poison for the next 50 years. These planets was going to be inhabitable to any kind of human life.
But
I'm confused about the trilithium thing because I actually forgot in this episode that it was stated that it was just a waste product. Because I've always known it to be, used for other things, like weapons being one of them.
And the fact that the trilithium that's produced by the Federation ships and stuff is sought after by people who, I guess it was rare in a sense, because if you able to get a hold of it, it could be used for making explosive weapons and stuff. It can be used in terroristic activities, basically.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dave. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I just want to start talking about the episode itself. Just I think Data's the star of this episode, in my opinion, especially when it comes to his attempt to fill silent moments with non-relevant conversation.
That's called. I love Commander Calvin. Was it
Calvin Hutch?
Yeah, I like him.
Calvin
Him and Data just talk about some of the non-relevant facts. It was like, I mean, they just sitting there, just spewing out like little facts that you'd be like, okay, this is what the reception, is going to be like and stuff. And then we saw Picard, he tried to make an excuse of, oh, I need to go back to the Enterprise and grab my saddle.
There was also a data mistake in this episode as well.
How so?
When he started conversing with Hutch, he used a contraction. He said "I've" instead of "I have."
Ooh, I missed that. Good catch.
He said I've something to the effect of "I've heard good things about this place" or something like that, but he should have said "I have," but he didn't. He said "I've."
Oh wow, I missed that.
I did too.
I actually rewound it just to make sure that I wasn't hearing things, because obviously I'm partially deaf. But it was on the subtitles as a contraction, and he actually said it as a contraction as well. "I've" instead of "I have."
Yeah, but also like when just how Picard just like bam, 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 going into all parts of the ship, and then gets to the bridge, and then that was another little point. Just like the bridge cleared out really quick. Picard went into his ready room. Which, by the way, what happened to Livingston? Did they evacuate Livingston ahead of time? Because I didn't pay too close attention to that. So
got rid of all organic, life, like all kind of organic, stuff on the ship, like plants, Data's cat. Somebody had dogs or something, or I mean, we've seen them transport like living creatures.
Yeah, would have been nice to see stuff like that, to see the pets being evacuated as well. Because what about Spa? What about any other canines and whatnot? But
budgetary reasons. You know, they only own borrowed
yeah.
time. They can do so much with.
But with
Can I just ask a question? Because this has really been bothering me. And I know that it's not episode related, but it is Enterprise D related. In Generations, when they do the saucer set, do you know when you come out of Picard's ready room and you turn right towards the turbo lift?
or the left, you mean? Or
Well,
or the right half of the bridge if you're facing from Worf's station. Yeah, because there's a bunch of like Devore and the others came out of the emergency turbo.
yeah, well, heading from Picard's ready room
Mhm.
to the turbo lift Picard got into.
Mhm.
Now, when they did the saucer set in Generations, on that slope of the bridge, randomly from nowhere, a console appeared. Where the hell did that come from?
Oh, in Generations, yeah, they modified the bridge,
Oh,
but they also
But it
modified
wasn't
it to
there
the point where
before.
it actually the bridge set moved. So when they were crashing, the actors were actually like, "Ah, what the hell?"
in Generations, Katie, the Enterprise D bridge went through an upgrade. They added additional to both the starboard and port side of the bridge. They added additional stations on there.
Yeah, because I don't remember seeing it before the saucer set.
Yeah, because it wasn't there. It was something I think they wanted to put in there, but due to budget, that's something that they never did get around to putting on there.
Yeah, because in Generations before the saucer set, it wasn't there. But then after the saucer set, it just randomly appeared as though it just came out of the wall.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to look at that again. Same, but like right now, it's like I don't have a Blu-ray player, so.
Ooh.
Oh, then again, I can't probably watch it on Pluto. Say a
Mm.
little shameless plug for Pluto there. But when Picard got to the bridge and Worf asked to be excused from Hutchison's little
I love
soiree,
that.
and then Jordy was just like, "Can I?" It's like, "Still love Forge. I cannot have the entire bridge crew not show up."
Yeah, I like that,
This,
although I'm quite disappointed that Worf wasn't there, because I think things would have turned around a lot differently if Worf had been there.
yeah, but the smirk on Worf's face, he's like, "Ah."
Oh yeah, it's very rare that you see that smirk, but when you do see it, it's golden.
It's like, I got an excuse to get out.
Oh yeah, I mean, Worf can be so smug, but when he flashes that smug smirk, it completely changes him, and it is so golden. It really
It's
is.
so unlike Worf. So it's just like, but uh, see the one thing, even though I know the staff at Hutch's get together, the one person that probably knew that Picard went up to the ship and didn't come back would be whoever the transporter chief is on the planet at the base.
Yeah.
They should have made some sort of comment that Picard didn't return, but it's possible, like Riker or Troy said, that it's just like he probably just beamed straight to the horse stables and took off.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a very good explanation of why he wasn't around.
But
I mean, up until this episode, I actually didn't realize that Picard kept a saddle on the Enterprise, to be honest. But it's a beautiful saddle. I mean, I'm terrified of horses, but that they're beautiful creatures, and I mean, you know, that saddle was beautiful.
He ended up using it as a weapon. You know, that was pretty funny.
I know, that was so good. I loved that. He didn't miss a beat with that.
I like how he downplayed who he were up until, You know, when he overheard them talking about, when was it? Dave, help me out. When he displayed it, when he told that he was a captain. It was when they went to the 10-4, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He finally revealed himself as Picard because he was like, "I'm the barber."
Did he say barber or did he say cook? He was the barber?
He was the
No,
barber.
it was the barber mop.
He Yeah, because they wouldn't know any better. They did have a way of checking to check his credentials.
Right, and they just assumed he was just a Starfleet officer, you know, and stuff, but they didn't realize it was actually the captain.
But one thing that I don't understand is how could they work out that he was a Starfleet officer
Com badge.
just because
He
they
dropped
found a
his com
com
badge.
badge?
Yeah,
Because I've seen even civilians on the Enterprise that wear com badges.
Well, and further, there's enlisted and there's officers. Those are two classes.
Yeah.
And Chief O'Brien, for example, at least in DS9, because they've toggled him between officer and enlisted. It's really weird. But in his most recent incarnation in Star Trek DS9, he's Chief O'Brien.
Yeah.
He's a chief petty officer. He is not a commissioned officer, and his collar has the 3 chevrons, not pips. And so, but in earlier versions, he had pips. So I we're not going to get into the whole conundrum of that. But so you have officers and you have enlisted, all of which have a com badge. I mean, everybody aboard the Enterprise has a com badge. So just the com badge alone doesn't say officer. I mean,
exactly. This is what I don't understand because I've seen like full on civilians like spouses and that of officers like in various episodes, and they've had com badges. I mean, I would have thought that it was like a safety feature of being on a starship, you know. And I've seen civilians on the Enterprise like in 10 Forward that have got com badges. So I don't understand how finding a com badge automatically means enlisted officer.
Well, okay, let me give you an example. Do you guys remember in season 2 of Star Trek Picard, Girardi? And when Girardi was on the planet Delta with the android, with Data's daughter, you know, the android.
Hell yes.
So she tapped her left hand over her right shoulder. She had a com badge on her upper right breastplate. So usually it was a com badge because she contacted the captain. Oh shoot, what's his name? I can't remember his name again.
Rios.
Captain Rios, when he was on the ship and stuff and everything else. Now that's one iteration that I realized that civilians can have certain com badges that are different from, like, I would say the military style com badges and stuff. Even though we've seen like there could be Starfleet officers or enlisted personnel who are in civilian clothing could have the com badge and they wear the com badge. Technically, from what I understand, wearing a com badge is a must when you're a Starfleet personnel, because it actually keeps a lock onto your signal. If you emergency transport, it keeps like your movements about of the ship or a station and stuff. Sensors can pick up your com badge movement and stuff like that. And that's the thing too.
Typically, you're in the Next Generation, family members and spouses did not have com badges. When you saw people in 10 Forward, those were Starfleet personnel in civilian clothing. What changed was Voyager. In Voyager, everybody had a com badge. For example, 7 of 9 was not Starfleet, but she was issued a com badge. Neelix was not Starfleet, but he was issued a com badge. Kess was not Starfleet, but she was issued a com badge. And if I'm not terribly mistaken, I think even Naomi Wildman had a com badge. So I think in the Delta Quadrant, And of course, all the Maquis, none of which were Starfleet, but they were integrated, so they wore the uniform and they wore the comm badge. But even those that were not even uniform, not even Maquis, right? Just like your Neelixes, your Kess, your 7 of 9, they all wore a comm badge.
Yes.
And I think that in that case, I think it's because they were in the Delta Quadrant, everybody was part of the ship. You didn't have the luxury of being a spouse or a child. If you were on the ship, you were a member of her crew. You got a comm badge.
And comm badges
I
keep
remember
keep
Wildman didn't have a comm badge.
Not when she was very young, but there was an episode, and I have to go back and look at which one it was, where something on the ship was happening, and she tapped her comm badge. I have to go back and look. I think
Yeah,
she got
that was when the ship split into different time zones, and she was actually a science officer when she had a comm badge.
Oh,
But
maybe that was it.
no, but
in all
there
the
was
other
that
episodes, she did not have a comm badge.
there was that Flutter episode when her mom was crashed on the Delta Flyer when they tried to look for Naomi. They were looking for her, and her comm badge was attached to that Flutter stuffed animal that Harry made for her.
Yeah.
That's right.
So she did have a
I think
when
was.
Neelix went looking for her, he found the Flutter doll with her comm badge on it.
And you think about that too. It's just to keep track. Like I said, it's to monitor, not to like monitor, but like it's a communication thing. Like if somebody need to get in touch with you or in communication with you, the comm badges were just set up to where you can that they can lock sensors onto you. Like they say, we can't find so and so. Can you scan for their comm badge? And boom, you scan for their comm badge that is assigned to them, and that's how you can. That's one thing that having a comm badge among Starfleet personnel. But like I know what you're saying, Katie, about like civilians on Deep Space or on Voyager. They not Voyager, on Next Generation Enterprise D. They really didn't have comm badges,
Right.
but some of them that looked like they did, like Tyson explained, when it was in 10-4, or you seen they was out of their Starfleet uniform, but they actually kept they wore their comm badges because I think it's standard protocol that they have to keep their comm badges on them at all times. Unless they're in the shower or something and stuff, but like they must wear their comm badges at all times.
The one thing about the comm badge that always got me was it seemed to adhere to any material that and it wasn't pinned on you, and it made a distinct chirp whenever you took it off your uniform, because when Worf resigned and other people have resigned, you hear them. It makes a little chirp as you pull it off your uniform, and
a little click.
Yeah, little chirpy thing. It's not that.
I think it's just.
But it makes like a. It makes.
I just think it's just like with my comm badge. It's just got the magnetic piece that's sewn on the back of the uniform. Maybe that's just the center.
Yeah, but that's not. Remember the one where was it Child of God? Whatever, the one where there was God up there, and you will not.
Justice.
Yeah. You remember he grabs his comm badge off of his shirt and puts it on hers and says "Beam her directly to." It stuck right to her shirt.
I always thought
because she had a magnet there too.
I thought it was a sticky adhesive or something. Like, how do they do that? It's like a sticky adhesive or something. But like, I mean, it always puzzled me that But then, for one thing too, they show like some of these uniforms and stuff had Velcro on the back of them.
I was thinking Velcro as well, because I mean they're just post editing
and then I guess in the newer Star Trek and stuff, they added magnets, very strong, powerful magnets that if you hit it, it won't like brush off and stuff.
Hold
on.
But yeah, just like back on the planet though, just like Riker and Troy are just sitting at each other talking, and Riker is like, "How long can two people talk about nothing?"
I love that.
They
that's
obviously
it's the
haven't met us. What?
I have
Yes,
painted
Tyson.
my dolphin phaser. It's all painted. The dolphin is still my favorite. This is the most recent phaser, which had the silver tip. All the others had black.
then
I like that. I like that. That's one of my
it's
favorites.
a great improvement from the freaking Dustbuster from season
Yeah, the
1.
Dustbuster was an awful one. This is the Cobra head, and you can see most of them had that black tip.
Yeah.
This is the one that had the silver tip.
More narrow focus.
Yeah, way more. Look how thin that is.
You see, I prefer the design of the black tipped one, but I prefer the sleekness of the silver tipped one purely because I have hands the size of a child.
Yeah, because the Dustbuster, you'd be like, what? You'd be
I would have
disappointed.
to like hold it like this, you know. I'd have to like hold it with 2 hands, but that silver tipped one that Tyson's got, that'd fit comfortably in my hand. But yeah,
not to get
even
too
my
far off
mouse,
of our hand.
you know, is huge in my hand.
Not to get too far off our hands because we're still talking about the episode, but
It's technically correct, Travis. It's all good.
you guys do know that stuff that appeared in Next Generation or in Star Trek Alone and stuff. There are nerds. I should say nerds, but there are people out there in R&D who is looking. They are actually looking to try to have some sort of development of phasers.
There's your phasers, if you guys can see them. I don't know.
Season 1, season 2.
Yeah, trying to share my screen here, but so we've got the Dustbuster, the Cobra head, the Boomerang, and the Dolphin. So the 2 that I have here are the Cobra head, which is this one. You can see the Cobra head phaser, and the Dolphin phaser.
And there are people out there looking to develop these type of self-defense weapons. You know, non-lethal, you know, stunning weapons like that.
But look at the to Dave's point. Look at that stupid Dustbuster phaser.
I know that'd hurt my hands trying to hold it. I don't think I'd be able to hold that.
I'm used to hold things that tight.
Calm down,
Travis.
I'm sorry, I had to get that one in. But yeah, Dave, back to the
yeah, and hopefully Phil said he was going to pop in, and say as soon as he pops in, I was going to share a couple of pictures that I took of the apartment. That if you haven't seen it on Discord or on my Twitter, is saying, then you can kind of see it.
Let me ask this to you guys. How long did you think it took from the Baryon Sweep from the back of the 2 nacelles to 10 forward? Because Picard was stuck right there. He was getting ready to get, you know, killed by the Baryon Sweep, and it was just creeping along.
The only thing I can explain is that the Baryon Sweep was able to detect where there's like heavier amounts of the particles that it needed to eradicate. So since the front of the saucer is narrower, there's not as much stuff to clean up, so it kind of started to speed up as it trudged forward. That's just an off the cuff like observation I would think of. Of course, once you get to like the engineering section, it's going to take a little more time because that's where the heart of the ship is.
Yeah, in the star drive section.
Mm-hmm. But as soon as it got past the neck and got just to the whoops, did it again. It's like first day using it on a stream, so. But yeah, once we got past the neck, it's just the saucer. It starts to speed up so it can finish what it needs to do. I can't believe it.
This process did seem like, you know, I mean, of course it did it for us for the, you know, for TV and everything else, but like, I wonder, you know, in practicality, how long will it take? I guess it depends on the size of the ship, though, because Enterprise D was a big ship. You know, any other ships smaller than that probably would have took, you know, less of time and stuff.
Yeah, Voyager would probably take a third of the time.
She was only half the size of the Enterprise.
Oh, more than half.
I
She's
don't.
probably about
Well,
a
in length, like if you held them up in length, she's a little more than half, but in volume, she's far less than half.
Oh,
yeah,
Like
yeah.
15 versus 42
yeah,
decks.
not putting them like this. It's a little longer than half, but when you look at it like this, that huge saucer section of the D, and then the Intrepid, it's not nearly.
Mm.
It's shallower, smaller. It's less than half the volume. More than half the length, but less than half the volume. But boy, the Intrepid class was a bitchin' ship.
You know, they really, when they came to when they made the design of it, because that ship, from what I understand, the Defiant class, the Intrepid class, and then the class ships that we've seen that came out of First Contact, they was all result of. Do y'all remember Commander Shelby was talking about, they were developing new types of ships and new types of weapons and stuff for, defense against the Borg? Voyager is part of that development of leading class ships that was designed to, fight against Borg. Even though it was classified as,
Escort
what do you call it?
vessel.
Well, let me really quick address Katie's questions.
Yeah, I was going to ask you to address that because, I mean, you'd be the best person, Tyson, being in the Coast Guard.
Machines in general are not considered female. Ships are a different story. Ships have always historically been considered female and referred to in the English language as she. But if you look at Data as a machine, he's male. If you look at V'ger, was more masculine, even though the it took over the female. What was her name? Star Trek Motion Picture.
Ilea.
It took over Ilea, but V'ger itself was masculine. Nomad from the original series, very masculine.
Yeah.
So most of the machines have been masculine. Even the machine on the planet that Kirk. What was that? And they referred to it in Lower Decks too. The machine that tried to make a perfect world. I'm trying to think of the name of it.
Yeah, that's not the kind of machinery I'm on about, sweetheart. I mean, ships, cars, motorbikes, anything like that is always referred to as she.
Vessels. Those are vessels. So an airplane is a vessel, a car is a vessel, a ship is a vessel. Vessels have always been feminine.
They refer. Katie's probably wanting to know, Tyson, in a sense, why do people refer to him as a she? Like, oh man, she can run.
Vessels are she's.
I think it's
the question is why.
It's like I think it would be like a term of endearment.
I think if I had to go back to my Coast Guard history, in olden days, vessels were not anthropomorphic, but viewed as having a soul. Being a ship was a part of the crew. A ship was an entity in and of itself, and as mother to the people aboard was considered female.
Yes,
because she keeps everybody alive. She's the mother. She's the feminine. And so it's referred to as a she, just like Mother Earth, when we talk about the planet, she. Why mother? Because mother is, it's that connection. I think that same connection with when you refer to vessels, large airplanes, ships, cars, they mother you, right? You're in their care. And so they're referred to as she's for the mother aspect, not for like a wife or girlfriend or any other kind of. It's more of a mother aspect that it gets the she from. Now, somebody watching this episode could certainly Google and challenge what I'm saying. I am not, I'm pretty good with history. I'm pretty good with science. I'm pretty good with most things. I'm not 100% sure on this. I'm reaching back to what I think I remember I was told 20 years ago when I joined the Coast Guard in some obscure conversation where that came up. So I can't be 100% reliable.
You see, I understand like the Mother Earth thing, because like the Earth has birthed us, I get that. you know, we have been created from the earth, the primordial soup, this, that, and the other, or, you know, like implanted by aliens, whatever you want to believe. But, and like Mother Nature, as much as I complain about it, I do understand why raging storms are usually, not all the time, but usually named after women. I do understand that. But it's just always baffled me why. Because I've even heard people, men and women, refer to their computers as she. And I'm like,
Yeah,
And it's interchangeable too. Like in Germany, they used to call that the motherland, but in Russia, it was the fatherland. You also have Mother Nature, but you have Father Time. So there are times when it's masculine and feminine, and sometimes it's interchangeable. I just think with ships, it's that mothering female that where you get that she from, you know, like the Enterprise, she is a good ship, you know, etc.
all the vehicles that I've had, I've always used masculine pronouns, masculine names, even though I sometimes just
Girl, you're
call
gay.
it
Of
car.
course you did. So did I, and so did Travis.
See, my trailblazer outside, his name is Colin. And then I got a little hoodie on the shift knob, and his name's Colin Jr.
Well, that's not true. I actually had a Spectra whose name was Miss Kia, but that's also gay. So I guess that Miss Kia.
I love you guys.
Yeah, but see, I wrote a comment on here, and since I actually watched this episode yesterday, hey Bill, you're finally able to make it. Hello, sir.
Watched this episode yesterday. Hey,
Hello, darling.
There we go.
Yeah, see,
There we are.
I made a note that Mike McMahon missed an opportunity based on something on this episode. I wrote Terralia. And I'm just like, I should have wrote more context on that because I watched it yesterday instead of right before the show because of all the stuff and things that's been going on with me today. Saying, have you seen my posts, Phil, recently on Facebook?
About your apartment?
Yes.
Yes. Oh yeah. I've
Yeah.
I've responded to a couple, I think.
I'd say I busy putting this together, but that's how we started the show when I made the comment that's like, you missed the big news. And the best way to describe it, I was definitely emotionally compromised. I was crying.
Well,
You've seen him before the show backstage.
Oh yeah.
No.
Yeah, I was even worse. But because I was like,
the place looks
within
nice.
minutes of that. Yeah, it's definitely a cozy apartment. I may get a roommate down the road, but for the here and now, it's my place.
Well, congratulations. It does look really good. It's a nice looking place, actually. I like it.
Yeah, and it comes with all the furniture, so I don't have to. Like, I'm going to be taking my desk with me because I'll need something to put the laptop on for my podcasts. But
2 hours ago, I was like Dave. I was bawling my eyes out. I was helping my friend Peter, who's 85, get his GMRS license through the FCC. For those of you not in the United States, the FCC is the Federal Communication Commission. It's where you get your ham radio license, your general mobile radio license. Anything that has to do with telecommunication licensing goes through the FCC. The FCC is a governmental bureaucracy. And so dealing with them, like Peter, who's 85, had his file reference number, FRN number, wanted to apply for a GMRS license through the FCC, could not remember his user ID and password. Do you know what happens when you try to access a government website and you don't remember your user ID and password? It was 2 hours of me crying my eyes out, going through a billion different hoops. You know, what's your mother's maiden name? What's your blood type? What's your
Jeez.
Oh my God!
This is why I always write my passwords down in a secure location because
he's 85. He doesn't know where the
mine.
toilet paper is, much less his password.
Oh my God!
I understand that.
I just need to call my new landlord for toilet paper now.
It was a nightmare. I was bawling harder than Dave. I was, why me? Other friend. I don't want to help you anymore.
What? You did your final good deed of the year.
Hey, that was a year's worth of mitzvah right there. Okay. I'm not even Jewish, but I'm calling it a mitzvah. It's all right. Probably going to get a lot of hate for that, but it's fine.
No, I hope not.
I think I get more hate for my hatred of TOS, to be honest, Tyson, so don't worry about it.
Yeah. You know, TOS has its moments. I like it, but
I do too.
I definitely am far more entertained with the newer, fancier stuff. I'm not gonna lie. I like the sleepers.
I mean, how can you beat that? You're talking about 1960s television versus the
you know what though? You know what blew my mind? 2001: A Space Odyssey. It was filmed in the same time, 1968, 69. So we're talking about the same. Now, obviously, one was a TV budget, one was, a studio, movie studio budget. Stanley Kubrick, I believe. I could be wrong, but my God, that was beautiful. The technology, the way everything, and Dave, I think you were in that movie. It was perfect. It was perfect. I just beautifully done. Beautiful. That movie holds up today. You could watch it and it would feel like a movie made today. The technology just, So I think Star Trek was done dirty. They were cheap with Star Trek. I think studio could have given them a little more money and could have, they were talking about, the buttons on the Enterprise were actually colored epoxy that were put in ice cube trays and then, turned upside down. And they couldn't even afford light bulbs underneath to light up those epoxy buttons. Like they were lit from the studio lights. There weren't lights in the, underneath.
The budget they didn't do a lot of big budget for the TV series.
Well, there is the refurbished editions now. They just came out a few years ago. So.
Oh yeah, that looks beautiful. But that's the external. That's when you see the Enterprise, firing on the planet killer and all that. That's all redone and it looks beautiful. It really does. But inside, that's not refurbished. That's all the same old shit. Oh, TOS.
Any more stuff you got in your notes, Dave, for this particular?
Well, just say when Picard was down in engineering, he did a really good job of just playing antsy and jumpy. He's just kind of twitching and moving around, but he was able to use the torch to be able to stick into that little witchamahoozits to cause the engine core to kind of freak out.
Right.
But Sattler did a journey roll in that episode. You see, when the door was coming down, he kind of just did that little roll to go after Picard when he was trying to get away.
Yes, he did. I just remember that. That's funny. Oh boy. This was a pretty interesting episode. Oh, I remember too that they found his saddle. Worf said that somebody found his saddle in a maintenance locker.
Yeah.
On deck 7.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of discontinuities about what was said about what deck they were on and where things were found versus what's happened on the labels on the doors for what deck they're on. So at one point they're right outside 10 forward, but the door right next to the Picard and Kelsey and all the others said deck 2.
Yes, but I'm sure that when they reused the sets and didn't change them, probably because of budgeting, I'm sure that they didn't realize that there were going to be fans out there that would notice things like this.
And I always had a big point about that. I always had a big issue with that. It's like y'all really think that people are not going to notice the little insignificant things that you think is insignificant, but the little details that people don't think are going to see the discontinuity in it.
We
But you
do.
see, the thing is, I mean, a lot of these things I don't notice, but I notice more like CGI mistakes, and when you can see the cameraman and like Data using a contraction when he shouldn't. I notice more things like that. I don't notice signs on doors unless it's like blatantly obvious. You know, I don't notice little things like that. But I often notice things that other people don't, like Data using a contraction in
It's
this
like
episode.
I've missed that for God knows how many years. I don't even think it was even mentioned on IMDb that he used a contraction accidentally.
No, but
So you pick up certain things that I don't. I picked up things that you don't, and others. So we
and
just
to
kind
be
of
quite
complement
honest,
each other.
sometimes I wonder if the creators, I wonder if they do these things deliberately to see if fans will notice. I mean, obviously not like, you know, like if you can see the cameraman, I mean, you know, things like that they're not supposed to happen. But little things like Data using a contraction, will people notice, or will they think he's just talking really fast?
That should have been caught up with one of the writers. They always have like a writer or two on set, and they always listen, and they like read when the actors are delivering their lines. They are going through and making sure that they are, you know, on cue with their lines and stuff. So usually that comes up with, you know, the writers, you know, to let the director know, hey, look, you know, that person didn't follow what was in the script.
But this is why I think that they do this deliberately sometimes, not just like with Data using the odd contraction here and there, but with like the signs on the doors because of reusing of sets. And I do genuinely believe that every now and again, I mean, yeah, some things, you know, it's hectic and stuff, and things can be missed. But sometimes I think they do it deliberately just to see if the fans will notice and to give fans a talking point.
And we do. There's a lot of us across the entire Star Trek community worldwide who, you know, pick up on that little stuff, and you can go on to all other different YouTube channels and stuff, and people have their own analysis on certain episodes, or like, you know, the flubbers, like little flubbers that they have in an episode that, you know, something that somebody may have missed and stuff. Like okay, let me give you an example. Star Trek in Deep Space Nine, when Garrick and Worf was in the Jeffries tube on a Defiant, and they was fighting, and I kid you not, I didn't even realize this until actually I seen it on a YouTube channel when they was fighting, because they needed to take Odo to the Great Link, and he was infected by the by his own people with you know, with some illness that he needed to be cured with the Great Link. Well, they took him all the way to their new home planet, and when basically Garrick asked the founder about, you know, survivors of, you know, the Cardassian Romulan attack force that, you know, was in the Omarian Nebula, she basically said everyone's dead, everybody's dead, you're dead and stuff. She like there were no survivors and stuff. Well, that really pissed him off and everything. He got really upset and everything else, and he tripped, I guess, a security, you know, monitor or whatever it was, and he was trying to override the quantum torpedo systems on the Defiant to fire on the founders. While the captain, while Commander Sisko and Bashir was on the planet. Well, during that fight, Worf was fighting with Garrick, and Garrick was just seemed like he was just enraged, and Worf got the upper hand on him, and when Worf kind of pushed Garrick into, I guess, you know, the hatch, it fell off, and you could see the wood paneling behind it and stuff. And I didn't even realize that until like almost 5 years ago or so, when I was like, oh my God, all this time and I didn't realize that. You can actually see the wood paneling and stuff like that behind the hat that was supposed to be there.
There's a lot of that where you go back and watch The Next Generation, and you know that big beautiful black display in the back. They actually put black cardboard over certain areas where the studio lights would shine off of it. And until somebody told me that, and I went back and I looked, and then I noticed it. But you know, when you watch it the first time, and if nobody points it out, you don't really register it.
No,
which was the idea to begin with, right?
Right, absolutely. You know, those little flubbers.
Yeah, I love those. I do have a net at 6:30, so I got to stay an hour and a half instead of just my normal hour. So I appreciate
maybe that's the one reason why we should switch it up to Mondays, because I know that you and Manu are talking about changing the days for Dangerous Thoughts as well. But yeah, with your radio net, that kind of puts a crimp on that.
Dangerous Thoughts, regardless of when Manu picks it, that will take priority. So if it ends up being on a Wednesday and ends up being on a net night, I'm just going to have to not be on the net, because you know I have to prioritize at least one of the shows, and Manu kind of has me on that. So you know,
so you got to see what Jeff just mentioned. My favorite parts when Warren Sattler got caught up and said blah blah blah.
Yeah. Two-box joke.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a good point with the X-ray, Jeff. Unfortunately, not everyone can watch the episode on Amazon Prime. So it's Paramount Plus for me. So don't have Prime as an option to watch those episodes. I'm pretty sure, like Phil, you get it on Prime, right? Or do you get it on P Plus?
I haven't looked on Amazon Prime. I do have Prime, and I have access to Netflix. They are on Canada Netflix, just the older episode, just
TOS.
And the 90s series.
They just don't have
they just don't have Discovery and up from there. They don't have
Strange New Worlds and Lower Decks, all
the new track thing.
What's that, Katie?
What's this Prime X-ray thing? Because I've got Paramount Plus through Amazon Prime, so it comes through as if it's Amazon Prime.
Well, no X-ray. It's like I've watched it on occasion with Stargate. It gives little trivia things and stuff. It just depends if you're watching it on the TV or watching it on your laptop. I think it more so works when you're on the laptop than just streaming it on the television.
Yeah,
it's been a long time since I've used X-ray myself.
I had Paramount Plus for a little bit because Mala was nice enough to share it with me, but she unfortunately had to cancel it, so I don't have that. So, but I can see, the older stuff pre-2000s, pre-Enterprise, say Enterprise and before on Netflix, at least on Netflix Canada. Anyways, I don't know if they have it on the US.
Yeah, and I honestly, now that you mention it, with last time I house/cat sat for Manu and Val early this year, is that they have Paramount Plus through Amazon Prime as well. Is how they're able to get that, and how I was able to occupy some of my time while keeping an eye on their home.
You can get a lot of.
I can like just press like the down button on my remote, and it'll tell me the actors on screen and the characters they play and things like that. But I've never done the X-ray thing. I'm gonna have to try that out though. It'll probably annoy the hell out of me. But there again, I'm used to having writing scrolled across the screen because I have the subtitles on because of my hearing.
Closed caption, okay.
Yeah, I have to with anything I watch. It really annoys me when I'm watching something and that the subtitles aren't available for what I'm watching, because I really do need it for my hearing.
Me too.
But so yeah, I'll have to try the X-ray thing, because it'll be very interesting.
I'm having a look on Prime Video, and I can see everything Star Trek related, but it's all locked. It's got the little yellow lock, and I think it's because you have to watch it through. Oh, Paramount Plus. I see.
Paramount right now.
Weird.
Because they have Plus and stuff, they want to make sure they control their content, and they're trying to keep every Star Trek stuff under their umbrella. And they're not. And if you want to watch their content, they're going to try to have any kind of way for you to make sure you subscribe to Paramount Plus, or something that they have an agreement with Paramount, have an agreement with to watch it through.
Stack. Yeah.
You know, they want that. They want to control their content and make sure it's on a, you know, legit streaming services that is controlled by them.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's why I was confused when you said, I know you're in Canada, Phil, and you were saying that, you know, you can only start. And I'm like, oh, okay. When you mentioned that Mala had Paramount Plus and stuff, and you could watch that and everything else. It's unfortunate that you know some of us, you know, do allow our, you know, friends or people to extend to our account to watch certain, you know, stuff that is on certain streaming services, but they're starting to crack down on password sharing.
Exact same here. It's the exact same thing here for Netflix and Disney right now. It's
yeah. I mean, it's understandable. They want everybody to pay to watch their content, you know, and you know, somebody having one, and then, you know, there's like 10 other people, you're using the same thing. It's like, well, we could be making, you know, all kinds of money off of those 10 people, and everybody, you know, is not, you know, paying their own fair share. And it's I heard some people saying it's basically stealing. It's stealing their content and watching it without paying for it.
In all honesty, if Paramount Plus wasn't the home of Star Trek,
which technically, in certain ways, it's not completely.
I wouldn't have it, because obviously, you know, like you've got like the Section 31 movie coming out, you've got Strange New Worlds, and then Discovery and Lower Decks and things. But if it wasn't for that, I actually wouldn't have Paramount Plus, because, well, actually, Voyager's no longer available, I don't think, on our Netflix. But
yeah, I remember seeing something on Twitter about that.
Yeah,
DS9 said the same thing too.
Enterprise,
yeah,
TNG, TOS. Not that I watched that crap. And Voyager have always been on our Netflix, and I much prefer watching them on Netflix, because on Paramount Plus they cut the scenes.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
And I noticed this when we were covering the double episode of Dark Frontier from Voyager. And there are 2 scenes specifically in that double episode that are cut short on Paramount Plus. The first one is when Naomi Wildman goes in to see Janeway and gives her that proposal to search for 7 of 9. On Paramount Plus, that scene is cut short. And then there's another scene, I think, when they go into when they go into a subspace corridor.
Yes. I remember you.
That one of those scenes is cut as well. On Paramount Plus, but it's not cut on Netflix.
You know what? Now that y'all mention all this and stuff, and I've seen, this is going to, you know, and this go back to what I have heard in the last 10 years. This is the result of streaming services versus physical media. I'm talking about DVD players, DVD players and stuff. Now, all that stuff, if you have a DVD or say a VHS, every stuff like that is on DVD. They don't cut any of that stuff out and everything else. Now, mind you, that copy is yours. When it's like a DVD, that DVD copy is yours. It's yours until it breaks or something and stuff. Now you go and you start seeing like, okay, let me give you an example. Before they started in the '90s when they redid Star Wars, the old Star Wars was a little different than the ones in the 1990s and stuff. You didn't see Han Solo in the talking to Jabba the Hutt and then walking across his backside. You didn't see that and everything else. And of course, the CGI was horrible in it and everything else. Tyson can tell you more about it. But this goes back to the thing about like physical media. Physical media have a lot more than what they do on streaming services because streaming is only on like you could like say all these streaming services that we got. One day they could be there, and then tomorrow the the corporation, whoever owns it, could pull it from the streaming service and stuff and everything. Even though you're paying for it and that's what you want to see and stuff, it's almost like there's no guarantee that what you're seeing on their streaming services is going to be still there or anything like that. But like if you had a DVD, but like my biggest thing in the 2025, I'm going to be systematically getting every single from TOS, TNG, DS9, Voyager, Enterprise. I'm gonna be collecting them on DVD because I want my physical copy. I want to have my own. That if somehow Paramount Plus did something or whatever, like y'all were just talking about, like those scenes being cut out, I can still go back and I can, plug it into my laptop or Blu-ray or DVD player, and I could see that, and it's still, I could watch it without it being like censored or anything like that. So to me, that's one of the biggest niche I have in the last like 10 years or so about physical media. It's a dying breed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, I got some physical media. Mostly it's the movies. See, I still need to get that new director's cut of the motion picture. That's on my
I do too.
Amazon wish list.
Oh, I do too. Oh, I seen that.
But like right now, I have no Blu-ray player whatsoever. I don't have a Blu-ray. Well, I have a Blu-ray player. It's in storage up in Seattle. So,
but I get it. Yeah.
and in Zach's defense, Katie is saying that. I mean, he is streaming this on his YouTube and his Twitter account, but he's working, so he can't pop in right now. So
I know, how dare he earn money rather than spend time with us? It's ridiculous, really.
He's here with us in spirit. You can see him.
Yeah.
He's digitally here with us, but not here with us, in person. With
yeah, should have been up his plate. But kind of steering back towards the episode. Just steering back to the episode a little bit towards the end when they're all in 10 forward. And Kelsey says, I'm not a terrorist. And I say, but I wrote a little note, no, but you steal for them.
Yes. Right.
But how did Picard know about the control rod that was stabilizing the trilithium in that little double thing? Because, I mean, he was nowhere near engineering when they were figuring that out, but he was able to take off and say, oh, wherever they're going, they're not going to get very far. And then it's all boom.
He just realized, I guess he went on a gamble that he just took that control rod, and it's just like, okay, boom, like you said. And he was just watching it from 10-4. He watched that ship explode.
Yes, yeah. Zach's got some good stuff. Yeah, the Legacy Right. Yeah, check out his channel as well. He's got some good stuff on there. It's just especially like right now with, like I said, with my AA stuff, is saying that well, I guess I could watch it not live. So say bad on me on that. but like say, yeah, I got to go 30 well, once I move in, I got to go with 30 meetings in 30 days, even though I'm 7 months sober, going on 7.5 months now almost. But yeah, I will. again, I reiterate, I will do what needs to be done to get that apartment.
Hey, it's called a New Year's resolution, Dave. You know, I mean,
Yeah,
I know
and
people don't make New Year's
I
resolutions.
yeah, I think this is a good transition. I would say Katie read it to me backstage and read what 2025 has for like a Capricorn, and I did not know about this until she read it to me. It's like, holy crap.
Do you want
Dave,
me
I
to
wanted
read
to say
it?
this. I want to say this to you earlier, Dave, when you were talking about how if a lot of things was down for you, and then Tyson, everybody's talking, saying that how much you have came about and everything else. I have a Ferengi rule of acquisition for you.
Oh dear.
the riskier
Yes, we
the
have
risk.
transitioned into the age of
It'll be a
Aquarius.
weekly thing now.
Much transformation.
There
But
there
now,
is a there
what
is a rule to
Dave
describe
is
Dave.
What was
But go
that?
ahead,
what?
What was
Katie.
that?
I'm sorry.
Sorry, go on.
No. I'm sorry. I was done.
But no, with everything going on with Dave, I mean, yes, Zach was right. Yeah, we have transitioned into the age of Aquarius. A lot of turbulent times ahead, but a lot of change as well, for the better. But I shared something on my Facebook, and it's all like predictions for 2025 for the various star signs, and Dave's is spot on for his star sign, and it's Dear Capricorn. This is an incredibly powerful year for making some radical changes in your lifestyle and for transforming your relationships with others and with yourself. Personal responsibility is a big theme for you in 2025, and you're gaining this throughout the year in a very significant way. There is great, excuse me, there is great assistance and support from the universe. There is a boost from the otherworldly efforts that are divinely inspired. You will be able to solve some chronic problems in your life, and this will be a great personal success for you. And that is just absolutely spot on for Dave this year. I see good things.
I try to hope for the best. I don't know how things are going to turn out in 2025 for any of us, or how things are going to be. I told Tyson I wish I could Rip Van Winkle myself for the next 4 years for us Americans and stuff and everything else, because it's going to be very trying and stuff. But aside from that, just as on a personal, from us and personal stuff and everything else, I always say hope for the best, to everybody.
Yeah,
I
see
mean,
that's the way I would say hope for the best, expect the worst. That's something that's just been ingrained into my soul. The same, but yeah, with my sobriety journey and stuff, I just like I'm handing all my stuff to my higher power. And see, even though the higher power is God, I just refer to him as the grand old dude, God. But as I've gotten deeper into my spiritual journey and making a more concerted effort with like my morning prayers and my evening prayers, like my said Saturday morning, the same. I was just begging him, just like, give me guidance, give me support, give me the assistance that I need to find another place. And then I sent text to two people from my AA group, and one of them said that they got a couple of rooms available at where he's staying at, and I would probably get a place on my own to start with. Actually, no, I think that was the manager that ended up saying that, but he said his name is Matthew. Here's his number. So I texted him. We were texting back and forth, and then found out that he's the same person that from a Cocaine Anonymous group, even though the CA, I'm there for the marijuana, not for the coke. I've never touched coke, and even in the weekly introduction saying some people in CA have never touched the white stuff. It's any and all mind altering substances. And I'm going, I think today's 100, well, almost, today or tomorrow is going to be 4 months since I've touched marijuana.
Oh, wow, congrats.
And thank you. And there's like 225 days for.
Zach. I call it the MJ.
Well, I haven't touched weed since like 2018, and I actually, I'm actually, I wish that I could access it, even the medical cannabis, because I used to use it as a painkiller after all my operations, and it really did help.
I'm 46 years old. I smoke marijuana.
Good on you. You don't want to.
Yeah, I guess that whole back in the 80s, Nancy Reagan, they know the drugs. They know. Always stuff.
We're losing you there, Travis.
Yeah, you're kind of fading off a little bit.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
So.
Okay, I was just saying that I stuck to the Nancy Reagan campaign back in the 1980s. Just say no campaign.
Oh yes. Just say no and then dare drug abuse.
I was alive for that.
For education.
Oh yes.
I swear though I think it was like in his late teens, saying he was our drug counselor for DARE when I was in grade school. Looking back at memory stuff, he smoked. I mean, his nickname was Odie, and he did a pretty good like graffiti style Odie from Garfield.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can honestly say that cannabis was a better painkiller for me than the tramadol I'm currently on.
Just asking, have you tried like the candies or the THC infused candies, brownies, stuff like that?
We don't have them here. We don't have edibles here.
Edibles, that's what I was looking for.
Yeah, we don't have edibles here because it's not legal over here, and even the medical cannabis, is very rare. And there are only certain criteria. Now, for my condition, fibromyalgia, it is available, but only for certain cases and only if you pay extortionate prices to go private. And even then, after consultation, after paying for all these private consultations, you still might be denied it. And I mean, when I used to smoke it as a painkiller after all my operations, it was bought off the street. It was like black market stuff, but I still had my favorites, and I can honestly say that cannabis, for me personally, is a much better painkiller than tramadol. And tramadol is the painkiller I am on at the moment. It's better than morphine. It's better than oxy. Those top-rated, very strong painkillers, they barely touch my pain. Whereas cannabis, that really helps because it with fibromyalgia, it's a chronic condition of the central nervous system, and so something like cannabis will help. I mean, I'm not trying to promote drugs or anything. This is just my own personal experience. The DT and TT camps do not condone excessive drug use, but
it's funny. It became legal here in Canada. I used to actually smoke it on and off, just more for nerves and things like that. But because I get anxiety.
Eventually, here in the U.S., it will be illegal. It will be illegal here in the U.S.
It will be illegal again? Because I know in certain states it became legal. It became fully legal here in Canada. It probably will go illegal again later in 2025 when our version of Trump gets elected in, that's another story. But
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Polyev, yeah.
We don't need another version.
Oh, Canada's got its version coming. Believe you me.
Oh.
It's yeah.
Boris was kind of like Britain's version too for a while.
Oh, don't even mention Bojo. Do not mention him. How he got elected, I don't know. I mean,
Well, same can be said of Trump Tard.
But if I may finish my full thought, I actually, the funny thing is when it became illegal, I stopped using marijuana because I knew it was getting harsh on me. I was kind of like going, I feel like I was turning 50 and I was like not handling it well. And I thought I started trying to go really super healthy. I cut dairy out of my diet and I was doing everything I could to try and actually not age.
Let me propose this to you guys. I'm gonna throw something out to this because we already seen Star Trek Picard season 2 season 1, season 2 and stuff. And going back to what we talking about marijuana, do you guys feel that in the Star Trek realm that marijuana is alive and well in the 24th, 25th century in the Star Trek realm? I mean, because we seen Ralphie, she was smoking something in Picard season 1.
Yeah.
And then who was it? Captain Shaw mentioned cannabis. He said, "Too bad, something about not having some." And you just start thinking, it's like, okay, they dropped a little hint of marijuana, Zach, and they dropped a little hint about marijuana in each 3 episodes, I believe, of Star Trek Picard. And I'm just throwing this out there. It's like, do y'all see a hopeful future in 300 or 400 years that marijuana would just be something as simple as going to the drugstore as today? Go and pick up.
I'm hoping that's going to happen next week, sweetheart. To be quite honest, I mean, where in Colorado, I know that you can go to a store and have your choice of what strain of cannabis you want, and you can legally buy it from a dispensary.
Not in Colorado Springs, though.
Yeah, but just generally speaking, I mean, but we can't even do that here. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous that there is proof. Holy hell. I don't believe you. I want to see your birth certificate. I don't believe that you're over 50. But no, there are so many benefits to it, especially as pain relief and things like that, and to ease off epilepsy, and it's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, all right, yeah, I know regulation and taxes and stuff, but I mean, our regulations and taxes work very differently to yours. I mean,
thank you, Katie. I'm glad you said that.
Is included, but it would be a lot better if it was more readily available, because as well it'd be safer. Now, this has always been my argument with Britain, and the health service. It'd be a hell of a lot safer if the medical grade cannabis was freely available to those who wanted to try it for their conditions, because buying it off the street, whether it's in the resin form or just as it comes, in the flower form, you don't know what it's being treated with. It could be laced with anything. Buying it off the street, yes, the government is satanic. I do agree with that.
Oh, yeah.
However,
doesn't matter who or what.
at least if at least if it was made readily available to those who wanted to try it, like like in dispensaries and things like that, it'd be a lot safer than buying it off the street, because there's been certain strains of cannabis across here that of obviously illegal distribution, that have been laced with like heroin and
fentanyl,
been laced with like PCP and all that, and at least if it was made readily available and legalized in that way, then it would be a lot safer. And I mean, I pray to Lucifer every day that it'll that it'll be made readily available and legalized, because it needs to be.
Yeah, but see, we're really starting to. Well, I mean, I know we got the Star Trek connection with Picard and drug use and stuff, but we're kind of really getting off topic there. Is there anything major that, like, Phil, I know you kind of joined the episode late, but you also didn't watch the episode in question early enough because of like the
I only
holidays
remember
and
a
all
couple
that.
small scenes from it, but it's the one I'm thinking of.
But
You-
is there
you have not seen
any
Star Trek
standout
Mine?
moments? What was that, Travis?
I just asked. He's never seen this particular episode, Star Trek Mine.
Ages ago. I have to get caught up with it. I only remember a couple of small scenes from it. If it's the one I'm thinking of, is this the one with the Baryon Sweep?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Is also the one where somebody, there's a party and Data wants to learn small talk.
Yeah, and we never see Data use small talk ever again.
That's like weird thing.
He just experimented with small talk. That's about it. He didn't do any other small talk in his career.
No. Let's not.
Oh boy.
Zach.
Zach, oh man.
No.
Oh wow.
No.
Zach's gone all religious on us tonight.
Oh boy.
Please tell me he's joking.
Oh, hey, Lucifer. Sorry.
But I'm glad that you do know what episode this is.
I used to be one of those for 10 years and it wrecked my life. So don't. Yeah.
Well, see, I
can't really see it because I love Zach to pieces, and I don't mind. I really don't mind. I have a very deep respect for other people's beliefs and life paths, and I love that guy to pieces. So I really can't scold him for that.
See, I'm definitely on a spiritual journey myself these past 7 months. Is saying, well, I'm not like a Bible thumping Christian or anything like that. There is always refer to just a higher power.
Yes,
a power greater than myself.
My religion with pride. I wear my religion with pride. And that there is literally the only part of the Wiccan Rede that I follow, and that's and ye have none, do what you will. But I'm not scared to tread the grey areas. It's like I said to Tyson earlier. If I see him spray the Cali Pod, I will make a voodoo doll of him, and I will spray him.
Just get a super soaker as soon as you meet it for the first time. Just
yes, I will do that, because Tyson has said that wherever I land on U.S. soil, he will come to me. So he can come and see me in Colorado when I eventually get across to see you lot, and I will make sure that I've got a super soaker.
Oh my!
I'm not afraid.
Yeah, I say we're coming up on 2 hours. I need to take care of business of more ways than one. But
one thing that I will say is, I will go back to what I said at the beginning of the episode. Oh God, no, that'd burn me, Zach. Down. My skin would sizzle. Please don't. Unholy water would be better. But anyway,
Unholy water.
what I was saying at the beginning of the episode about all my ranting and raving about technology, and it's not.
Thank you, Zach.
See,
it's gonna be my first place in over 20 years. So it's I think I'm really gonna be able to pull it off. But again, just having the roommate when it happens is we can help keep each other accountable. But I am confident that I can resist and not relapse, because relapse equals living on the street. Not going to
You
happen.
won't relapse. I have every confidence in you, and if anybody ever tempts you, I will go to the dark side of my craft.
Oh, wow!
And that is not a threat. That is a promise. And I will do it with so much love in my heart, just you know, with a smile on my face, a cackle in my throat, and a song in my heart.
But someone was also, was it Travis? You were about to say something?
Oh, one of my final thoughts for you, Dave, is I just remembered a rule of acquisition quote.
Oh, yes.
That kind of fits you in a
It
sense.
should be weekly.
Just remember, the riskier the road, the greater the profit. That's
a good, that based on what's going on with my life as well as downstairs with Cassie and Becca. That
sometimes,
yeah.
That's rule of acquisition number 52 or 62.
So, what was the rule?
62. The greater the risk, the greater the profit.
The riskier the road, the greater the profit.
Yeah. But did anybody catch the let's say Phil being the elder of the group of us, the Mr. Ed reference at the end of the episode?
No, was there?
Yeah, it's say when Worf found Picard's saddle in the maintenance locker, and Picard made the comment, I just wish I could have used it on the horse. And then Worf said, "Of course."
Oh.
All these years and I never got that. I never got that. It's been how many years? It's been over 30 years, or just about 30 years.
No, I think it came out in 93, so yeah, 31 years.
Golly, and I just now getting that? Oh, man, talk about... boy, oh, boy.
Yeah, but as I said, well, depending on how long it takes for the company that manages the place I'm going to live at will determine if I'm going to be here next week or at the new place down south next week. So like I said, with the holiday, that might delay things a little bit, but I mean, yeah, I'm going to have to figure out the setup there, so definitely going to have to take a couple hours off to figure that stuff out.
I wanted to ask you a question about your flat, and I wasn't sure. I didn't. I don't know if on live I wanted to ask prices, but you quoted what it was, and it threw me back a bit. Maybe it's because here in Ontario, rental has gone through the roof.
Yeah, saying that at first I was thinking it was going to be a bit of money, but considering that everything that's all included, like water, sewer, garbage, electricity,
included,
internet, toilet paper
included.
Yeah, they you need toilet paper? They'll give you a roll of toilet paper. Say the laundry facility is coin operated, but I just need to go across the hall to the manager saying, "Hey, I need quarters for the laundry," and bam, they get covered. Drop it into the machine.
Yeah, okay.
And
what up, Katie?
You don't have a washing machine in your apartment?
In the apartment itself, no, but there's like a laundry room downstairs.
Community laundry. It's like with mine. We don't have an ensuite washing dryer. I have to go downstairs.
I live in an apartment complex, and yes, we do have a laundry room. We do, and
Not in
it's
your
like a
kitchen?
laundromat. It is like a laundromat where you have to pay. However, we have washing machines in our kitchens.
Yes.
I don't understand how across the pond works with that, because
I know the history of why they have that, but yeah, we don't here because we didn't need to. We always put them in separate rooms if you have ensuite laundry. But yeah, I think that's a brilliant idea, by the way, myself. I it would be so handy just to actually do that right in the kitchen.
I mean,
I think that's
one of the places that I lived, the last place I lived in my hometown, we didn't have the washing machine in or the tumble dryer in our kitchen because we had a utility room.
Right.
Specifically for that. And, you know, some people do have that, but not to have your own washing machine in your own home.
I know.
Yeah, we have one in the house here, but it doesn't work. So we have to go to the laundromat.
Yeah. Have to save up change and then go put it in the machine. It's like $2 wash, $2 dry here.
Yeah, it's like
I would rather have ensuite laundry, but it's an old building.
Yeah, it's an older building too, but like all the units got refurbished recently. But like I said, yeah, saying even though it's a coin operated laundry downstairs in the main level, you just go to the manager, say, "Hey, I need quarters."
That's
give
nice.
Quarters, and then he actually pulled what quarters were in the machine out, so he could just feed and refeed the same quarters over and over and over again.
I mean, every now and again, I do have to use the laundry room here, and I have to because the blanket I've currently got on my bed, it is like huge and it's really heavy duty. Why I have it, I don't know. Because it'd get you through a bloody Arctic winter. But I have to use it for that, and like if I when I get a duvet again, I'll have to take that to the laundry room to get it laundered because it's too big to fit in my washing machine. But now I wouldn't be able to live without a washing machine in my own home.
Oh, that's a dream.
Dave, I'm gonna have to get going. I got something to do myself and everything else. But guys, you know, it was a pleasure. It's the we're almost there to a New Year's and stuff. So I won't be seeing y'all until next year.
All right. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to everybody.
Oh yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, I forgot your computer can do that. That's cool.
That's neat. That's neat and all. But guys, you enjoy yourselves and stuff. Everybody have a safe and wonderful and just a fun, happy New Year's. Even if it's just with yourself.
You too, Travis.
But just before you bail, so the episode we're going to talk next week is the Enterprise episode, A Night in Sick Bay, which kind of got looked at earlier this season was with Lower Decks with those aliens that took offense to some posturing that Archer did, and Porthos got sick, and so that's going to be next week's episode. And I'm thinking might stick with Monday for a little while longer, see how that works, as we got a pretty good turnout. So maybe, like I said, with what I got going on with my future, like new year, new space, new day.
Absolutely.
It just kind of makes me have to rethink when I have to sit down and do my step work, which I probably should do a little bit of that before going to bed tonight because it's already 8 o'clock and I really got to use the restroom. So,
Katie, I'm glad you're doing well. Right. Love you, sweetheart, and all. Phil, it was good seeing you.
I love you, darling.
Take care.
Everybody, be safe.
Be safe, and until next week, hailing frequencies are closed.